Hey, it's Jo here at Garden of Yoga, and today I'm going to be sharing some of my favourite hip and shoulder stretches, some of which we might use the block for. These moves are going to start with a front belt wrap position, so if that's not something you've tried before or not something that you're comfortable with, just head back to my front belt wrap breakdown and introduction videos and just get really familiar with this position before we add in these extra options, because the pinching feeling that you might feel with the fabric at the front of your hips will be a little bit more pronounced as we move our legs around. So it's not going to be a very enjoyable experience for you until you're already feeling pretty good about having the fabric touching your body at the hips. We are going to start out though, just warming up from the floor. So I'm doing a little bit of effort pulling the fabric apart with my hands. And inhale to stand tall, and then as I exhale, chin tucks in, vertebrae by vertebrae, lengthening forwards. Inhaling here, and then on the exhale, you could either bend the knees and hinge your way up. You could actually hinge your way up and hinge your way down with knees bent if that feels better for your back. Or you could roll your way up and down. Inhaling at the top, and then as we exhale, lengthening forwards with the roll through the spine or the hinge through the spine, just whatever you are the most comfortable with. If you're already feeling pretty warm, maybe you've been moving around through the rest of your day, this might be enough warm up. If you're feeling like your back is a little bit stiff or a little bit tight, you might like to give yourself a few more rounds. You can pause the video at any time if it feels like you need a little bit longer on any of these moves. And actually, when we get to the shoulder section, you might just like to watch the video through before practicing it, because you won't be able to see when you're in that position because you'll have your head to the camera from behind. So now I'm going to go along with my arms and breathe in here. And then as I exhale, I'm going to stretch over to one side. Inhaling here, and then with that breath out, over to the other side. So like before, the knees could be bent if that feels more comfortable for you. If it doesn't feel good to combine the forward bending and the side bending, you could also work a little higher up and work more of an upright twist. The next time we go over to the side, explore. So you might end up bending one knee or the other. You might end up facing the chest down towards the ground a bit more, or opening your chest out to the side a bit more. Just whatever feels good for you. I like to bend my bottom elbow as well. And then we'll travel through center, taking it to the other side. Again, exploring where do you need to be to get the most satisfying variation of this stretch for your body today. Come back to center. Strong through the core on the journey up, whether it's a straight back or a round back, shoulders drawing down. I've got my hands inside the fabric. I'm going to wrap it around my wrists and then interlace my fingers. So I've done this stretch forward from here in a few of my videos. We'll do a little bit of that now, arching and rounding through the upper back. Arms could be long, or elbows could be a bit more bent. Just exploring how that feels. But we're going to take it to a little bit of a different place today. I'm going to take one foot forward, other foot back, and then again, you could stretch forward with the arms long, seeing how that feels. If this knee straight feels a bit much, you could bend that knee and work from there. The elbows could also be bent if that's a better, more satisfying shoulder angle for you. And you can even bring in a little bit of that side to side. So this one's more about exploration than it is about a linear alignment. We're not really lining anything up with anything else. We're just noticing how the movement feels in our bodies. You could even explore a different angle with that back foot and maybe a little bit more of a side bend from here. It's a chance to check in just as much as it is a chance to physically warm up. going to travel back through center. Only if it feels comfortable for you, you might like to explore putting a bit more weight down onto the front foot, transferring your weight forward and lifting that back foot up. It's a challenging balance of the arms in this position. And then I'm going to bring that foot back to the front of the mat, roll my way back up. Have a moment with your fingers because sometimes this fabric ends up wrapping pretty tight. Other leg steps back. So like before, the options are coming forward with straight arms and a straight front leg, with bent elbows, with a bent knee, or any combination of those two things. Maybe your own combination. Again, just that chance to feel into the spine, feel into the hips, feel into the shoulders. Maybe turning that back foot a little bit further out, accessing a bit more of that outside of the hip, side of the body area. And then from here, again, option to work balance. It's a tricky spot. Keep breathing. We'll lower that foot down. We'll make our way up. Again, give those hands a little bit of a release. Bring the fabric behind. So my fabric is behind my back. My arms are behind the fabric, but then I bend my elbows and hook them in. This could be an upright move, like a twist. It's another one where I love to actually come forwards and maybe even bring in that twist for a little bit of a different shoulder stretch and a different stretch through the sides of the body. You might stay and breathe at center. You might explore a bit of a different position with your spine. That will change things as well. And then we'll make our way up. Just to make sure we're super warm through the shoulders. I've got it wrapped around my wrists. I'm gripping the fabric. I might even slide my arms a little bit higher up. So I could do my scap pull-ups with my feet on the ground, drawing my shoulders up and down. So it's like I'm shrugging my shoulders up by my ears and then I'm pulling them down. I could also do them just tip of my tippy toes, so I'm lighter with my arms as I shrug my shoulders up and down. Or see how I go without the feet on the ground. So be kind to yourself as you do that. Give your body time to get used to it. What I'm going to do now is bring the fabric around to the front of my hips, ready for our front belt wrap. Remember, you could have a rolled up towel or a small cushion in here, if that's what you need to stay comfy as you do this. Or you could also just do smaller doses of this move over time until you feel good about being here for a while in different variations. I'm going to push that fabric down below my hip bones, walking forwards, hinging forwards, maybe even giving it an extra little shove, and then I'm going to walk my feet back. So this is the first option, like a downward facing dog with the hands and the feet on the ground. And if you're still getting used to having the fabric in this position, you might like to keep one foot on the ground and just bring ankle to thigh. You could also take that other foot off the ground and start to draw the knees in and see how this feels. And if it feels good, you might like to reach through with one hand or with both hands as you draw yourself into a slightly stronger version of this hip stretch. You might like to give your head a little nod while you're here. I'm going to land my hands back down to the ground. I'm going to unfold my legs. I'm going to take them wide and around and hook my toes in. So I could stay up here, give my hips a little side to side move. I could bring the elbows down lower. I could just hang out, or again, I could work a little side to side with the hips if that feels good. Now I'm extending and opening through the front of the hip, but still feeling a bit of that fabric massage. And then I'm going to make my way back up, unhook the legs. My arms are strong and active here. And again, it could be foot on the ground, ankle to thigh. It could be hands on the ground as I draw those legs in, or if it's comfortable for you, you could even assist with the arms as you draw the legs in a little deeper. And then from here, I'll bring the hands back. I'll unfold the legs. We're going to use a block as an option for this next little bit. So I'll wrap my legs wide and around and hook my toes in again. See how you feel with your elbows down on the ground. If you can't reach the ground with your elbows, you might like to bring your hammock down a little bit lower to make that more accessible. If this is already feeling pretty strong, you probably don't need the block. So you can see a better angle, palms could be down. If you want to bring in the block, it can be palms facing the block, and this could already be enough stretch, or you could do some little lifts and lowers with the block. If you want to work a little bit more active flexibility in that area. I've got my toes hooked, but I could actually also have my legs down. That would mean my hands aren't as low to the ground, but it would still be a different leg option. Or I could even tuck my knees in and work from there if that felt better for you. Because it changes the position of my body in space, it actually changes what I'm feeling with my shoulders as well. From here, I'm going to lower my feet down, and I'm just going to walk to where I can feel steady on the mat. Knees could be bent or long. Put my block a little bit far away because I might actually end up using it here as well. So I'm going to bring one hand down and the other arm can lift up. So that could work on a higher block angle if you want a bit more room, or a lower block angle if you want a little bit more stretch. And I'm really feeling this for my upper back and my shoulder, as well as for my hamstrings. Swapping sides, remembering the hand could be on the floor or on the block. And then from here, I'm going to bring the hand down, and I might like to hold onto the elbows. That's one option. If you're feeling like you want to go a little deeper into the shoulder stretch, you could bring the arms back and either touch the fabric or interlace the fingers. Or if you just really want to go for it with the shoulder stretch, you could hold onto the block. And that little weight of the block makes the stretch feel a bit stronger. And then from here, I'll bring the block back down. I'll use my core, bend the knees, gradually bring that hammock forwards. And I'm going to stretch it long now. Having a little bit of time when spine and head are level, if you're feeling a bit dizzy after being upside down for a while. I'm going to ease my way back up. Come back to one leg forward, one leg back, and finish with a standing sequence. So the first phase is to stretch the arms forward, and we've done something similar to this before today, so you might just have a little check-in, see if anything's feeling different through your spine or your shoulders after the moves you've just done. You don't have to put your full weight pushing down on the fabric. You can be a little bit lighter and higher up in space if that feels better for you. Now I'm going to use maybe my block again. It can be underneath my hand on its lower or its higher angle, or I could use my other leg. And I'm going to reach my same side arm as my front leg out to the side. This could be enough, or I could bend that elbow as I turn my chest to the side, getting a little bit more rotation with the hip stretch and the shoulder stretch. Bring that arm long, back to the front, having a moment stretching forwards. And then we'll change legs. Setting up so it feels like you can start with both hips in line with each other. Arms can reach forward from there. Remember, you can have a lighter touch and more upright with the chest if that feels better for you. From here, I can use the block if it's in the right position for me. As an option, I can bring my hand down to the flatter block or the higher block or to my leg, working on balance. And then my other arm, which is the same side arm as my front leg, could travel out to the side, or I could bend the elbow from here. So I'm getting a really satisfying in between the shoulder blade stretch from doing this. And then from here, traveling back to center, strong through the core as I bring the hammock back in. I'm gonna move that block away. And I'm gonna round this out with a move that we've done also previously in a breakdown video, chandelier. So if you haven't done it already there, maybe pause and go there now because I'm just gonna talk through it today quickly. I'm gonna sweep that fabric out. I'll do the fabric booty wrap style, gathering up 6 handfuls, scooping myself in, sliding the fabric down so it's just covering the tops of my waistband of my pants, taking those legs wide and around and touching the feet in front. You might like to take a little moment, gently nodding the head. And then from here, I'm gonna travel one leg. I'm actively pressing out, back and behind. And I can hold that leg as I breathe with the same side hand, with the opposite side hand, or with both. Opening up through the front of the hip and the front of the thigh, where we've had a bit of deep massage with the hammock today. So finishing with this, the idea is we're getting lots of circulation flowing to that area that we've just compressed. Take it to the other side, wrapping that leg back in. First leg coming out and back and behind. By first leg, I mean second leg. And like before, I could hold it with the same side hand or with both hands. As always, listening to your body. Only working to the level that feels comfortable for you today. Light touch down through the hands, wrap that leg back up into the fabric. If you want a little twist as a final decompress, or even just hanging out. Make sure you save enough energy for the journey out, strong through the core, reaching up, finding the fabric, levering the legs down to bring you up. You might just like to snuggle yourself into your hammock for here, for your relaxation time. Or you might like to go on and maybe try one of our other videos. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it. I always welcome your feedback, so if there's any questions, just let me know. And I hope you're enjoying your aerial practice.